Hey, little skank, have you ever noticed that you don't actually become toxic in relationships? You just become triggered. You aren't broken, you're just operating from a survival blueprint you created years ago. Today, we're using ATEEZ to look at your trauma responses: fight, fawn, freeze, or flee. Which one are you secretly using to push people away before they can hurt you? Let's figure out why your fucking heart is currently in survival mode. Let's talk about it. Hongjoong, your fight response. Let's talk about your bias, Mr. Kim, and your need for control. You want to control the storm, and I'm not talking about Mingi. You think you're being helpful or driven like Hongjoong, but you're actually in a fight response. When things feel shaky, you don't cry. You organize. You fix problems your partner didn't even ask for you to touch. But you want to touch him. Do you want to touch the captain? The call out, the drag. You know how this channel works. You aren't efficient, baby boo. You're terrified. You think that if you stop holding the steering wheel for 5 seconds, the whole relationship is going to crash. You are basically romanticizing your inability to trust anyone but yourself. How exhausted are you really? Are you so tired of keeping the relationship together? This is why you are constantly in the fight response. Get your shit together. Quick question for you. That was so aggressive. When conflict shows up, do you try to solve it so you can finally breathe? Or are you just trying to stay in control so you don't have to feel? The call is coming from in the house. The call is coming from in the house. The control issues mean that you have some fears that are bubbling up inside of you, and you just start restricting things that are happening in the relationship. Anything that you do not feel comfortable with, you do not want it to be in the relationship. You're fighting for your life in that relationship. So Hongjoong stands for your fight response. And remember, this video is not being run by a psychologist, therapist, or any of the things. It's being run by a regular person just like you who just happens to do videos. Let's just go into Seonghwa. Let Seonghwa go into us. Seonghwa, your fawn response. Let's see what fawn means, okay? Now, if Seonghwa is your bias because he is mine, after all, fellow shine star, you pride yourself on being the perfect partner. We need to talk about your fawning. I'm just sorry. So, just like Seonghwa, you are hyper attuned to everyone's mood but your own. Okay, this is like spot on. And I'm not saying I write these things off of me, but I take a little bit out of my life and then I look at a lot of material that the guys are in. So this is how I come up with my conclusions, but I'm not, a therapist or anything like that. So here is our strategy, okay? If I take care of everything for you, you won't have a reason to leave me. Oh my gosh. There are times where I help people out so much because I think, hey, when I help this person out, they're going to help me out and everything's going to be really cool in a relationship. There'll be like a lot of reciprocity, but that's not what happens. When you start helping someone a lot, in my experience, you're going to keep helping them out. Like they're not going to help you out. When you get mad at this person, you may say something like, but I help you all the time. I do all this for you. These are the types of fights you're going to have with people. Now, release the grip on this person's neck, okay? Let them do their own life. Don't do life for them. It's going to save you a lot of stress. Wait, I sounded like a therapist and I didn't mean to do that. Let's just get back into the video. All right, let's go. You're a human doormat with a savior complex. I'm sorry. You've become so indispensable that you've completely disappeared. You think you're being loving, but you're actually just performing so you don't get abandoned. That's so sad. Ooh. So does your partner even know the real you? Or do they just know the version of you that never says no? And when you think further about the fawn response, you're avoiding conflict. You're doing what the person wants, so you feel safe. You don't want this person to abandon you. Here's your diary back. I read this in your diary. So, do you feel secure because you're loved or only because you're useful? Let's look at the next member to see what their vibe is. Your freeze mask. If is your bias and he's so hot, there's your golden retriever mask right there on Mr. You act like all smiles and light energy, but underneath you're in a freeze response. I know you're like, no, not with let's go. When a conversation gets too real, your brain hits the pause button. You laugh it off. You keep it light. You stay chill because you're actually paralyzed. Has that happened to you? Like something is going on and you just freeze. You just freeze. You're frozen. You can't move. What the fuck? So you're like, I'm fine. I'm good. That's not a personality. You being fine, you being funny, you being all the things, that's not a personality. It's a defense mechanism. You aren't unbothered. You're buffering like a video on 1%. I hate when videos buffer. If I have to wait longer than 3 seconds, I'm falling asleep. Like I just can't. Right? Like you're just like, anyway. So your partner is starving for depth and you're like, no thanks. You're giving them a 404 error page. Why are you so afraid of your own intensity? Does it scare you to be passionate about things? You don't have to freeze up because you're feeling exposed at the end of the day. And you're kind of scared of, will this person leave if they see who I really am? If the person does leave, then they're not for you. I'm just saying, let me ask you this question really quick. When someone confronts you emotionally, do you actually hear them or do you just glitch out until they stop talking? Now, in many respects, you feel like you would just fly away, like you're in flight, but don't. That's Yeosang's job. Yeosang, your flight response. Yeosang energy is just crazy, and this is your bias after all. Let's dig a little bit deeper. So you call it needing space, but let's call it what it is, emotional withdrawal. The second things feel too real or too heavy, you are halfway out the fucking door. You create 500 miles of distance before the other person can even finish their sentence. You flew out of there. You're like, beep, beep, bitch, I'm done. I'm out. So you aren't independent at the end of the day. This is the drag part. You're a runner. You're a track star, all right? You ghost the conversation before you can get ghosted. You're a statue in a museum, beautiful to look at, but impossible to touch because you ran away. How long are you going to keep running from the people who actually want to stay? I'm not talking about the fandom stay associated with Stray Kids. Question for you, my Maltese Doberman lovers. Are you protecting your peace or are you just protecting your solitude? Now, hopefully this isn't making you anxious or anything like that. I mean, I'm reading you for the filth like I do every single week, but don't feel anxious because that is San's job. San, your anxious fight response. Let's talk about your bias, Mr. Che San. He is the epitome of an emotional warrior. He's in that phase of his life, and so are you. So just like San, your fight response is loud and intense. You don't just want reassurance. You want it right now at 100% volume. Your nervous system literally cannot ignore tension. You think you're fighting for love, but you're actually just giving your partner a heart attack. You're just a lot to deal with. You escalate every small disagreement because you're terrified that if the energy drops, the connection is dead. Why can't you trust the silence? Seriously, why can't you not trust it? Like, what the fuck? So, do you pick fights because you care or because you're addicted to the makeup part? Does it make you feel good, baby? Does it make you feel high as a kite? I don't know. But let's figure out why you are so selective with the behavior that you are exhibiting towards other people, but don't. Whose job is that? That's right, Mr. Fix-On. Mingi, your selective freeze. To all of my Mingi lovers, Mingi's got some wild energy, but you call it processing, but you're actually in a deep vulnerability shutdown. Mingi has some wild energy, and when there is that much power, there's always the opposite of that, which is a decline, the shutdown. So during a conflict, you go quiet. Not because you're mean, but because your body literally shuts down. The speech center of your brain You only reveal yourself when the threat is 100% gone. Do you feel that? Now let me call you out. You are a 6 foot tall vault. You're not 6 foot tall. Okay, I'm sorry. You're at whatever height you're at. So, and your partner doesn't have the combination. They want to open you up. Would you want Mingi to open you up? The things we ask ourselves. You think you're being selective. If you want to be more selective, select your finger onto the like button and the subscribe button. Let's go. But you're just inaccessible. No one can reach you. You shut down. You shut down. It shouldn't take 3 business days for you to tell someone how you feel. Why are you so afraid of the wrong words? Are you withdrawing to think? Or are you withdrawing so you don't have to be seen? Someone seeing you in a very vulnerable position when you are feeling down really makes you feel so exposed. You start to think, am I strong enough? Do I have a problem? I'm kind of scared. I don't want to open up. So that's why we have the selective freeze. You're only going to freeze in certain times of the relationship, which is totally normal. But this Mingi character, he just, oh my God. I can see why he's your bias. He's so complicated in the most fantastic way. We're almost like flirting with danger with him, right? But don't. That's Wooyoung's job. Wooyoung, you're flirty Fawn. If Wooyoung is your bias, you love the Wooyoung charm, don't you? Because you use humor and flirting as a Fawn response. You tease, you play, and you keep the energy high because you think that if people are laughing, they won't notice your insecurities. The drag. I know you're just like, fuck, Chris, you just dragged me in the last sentence. Girl, calm down. So you are dancing for your life. You are performing for your life a lot, aren't you? Just raise your hand. Raise your hand. You think that if you aren't the fun one or the charming one, you won't be the chosen one. You are romanticizing a performance. Who are you when the lights go out and the audience leaves? Who are you at the end of the day? We're out here performing. I'm just going to drag myself into this. We're out here pretending to be someone else so the other person will look at us. It's just, it's so stressful. And then you go home completely tired, just exhausted. You may need 3 business days just to recoup. But let me ask you this question really quick, Wammies. Do you use humor to connect, or your flirtiness, or whateverness, or do you use it to keep people from seeing how scared you actually are? You don't want to let people in. You just put up this charm. Hey, how are you doing? Oh my God, I miss you so much. But you're not really being who you want to be. You're being who that person wants you to be. And if you're like, Chris, I don't really vibe with that. I know Wooyoung is my bias, but I'm not really vibing with this. That's why I recommend you to always watch the entire video so you can see which other members of ATEEZ are within you, are inside of you. You can't have all 8 members inside of you, but it's not that type of video. Sorry, I need to be more controlled with what I say, but no, that's Jongho's job. Jongho, your controlled fight. Finally, the fortress. Jongho is your bias baby, and like Jongho, you equate control with safety. You hold your boundaries like a shield. You process everything internally and never show a crack. You think that this makes you strong, the call out. You're so grounded, you're practically buried. You think you're bulletproof, but you're actually just alone. Armor doesn't just keep the pain out, it keeps the intimacy out too. Why are you so afraid of losing your composure? Let me ask you this question. I know that was like a really rough thing to listen to, but you're a fortress. I think you can deal with it. Do you actually have boundaries, or do you just have walls? And I know you're like, Chris, what the fuck does that mean? Okay, so you have a boundary, all right? You're like, that's your boundary. You actually don't know because you have walls up. That's why you don't know if you have boundaries. You're not even letting anyone in. You got to be a little bit vulnerable. I'm just saying. So look at your life. That was aggressive. These aren't personality flaws. They're not at the end of the day. These are survival strategies you learned when you weren't safe. But you're safe now with me on this channel. You don't have to fight, flee, freeze, or fawn anymore. The real question for your growth is, are you reacting from protection or responding from security? Because you deserve a love that doesn't trigger your survival instincts. I want you to. I want you to feel good and confident in the relationships that you're in. And remember, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I'm not your life coach. I'm not any of those things. We all deserve to be happy. We all deserve to be ourselves. And every single week, I ask you this. If you learned something from this video, even just one piece of something, let me know down below. I love to read all of your comments. It makes me feel really good when you're like, the video really helped, or you just share a part of your experience. And then other people down below, they heart your things and they're like, yeah, I feel that too. And then it makes them comfortable to open up as well. And this channel is all about being delusional at the end of the day. We're all just having fun here. We're actually peeking into our lives as well. So next week, I'm showing you how to heal these patterns or make them worse so you can finally stay in your body and not leave out of it when the drama starts unraveling for you. Comment below which member's response felt like a personal attack. I'll be in the comments playing therapist. Okay, I have to go, but I'm proud of you for listening.